Hey everybody, it's Emma. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. This is going to be another top 5 video and all about brushes, makeup brushes. Specifically, my top 5 picks for makeup brushes to start your collection. These would be either specific or kinds of brushes that I would recommend starting off with. I'm not including any brushes for foundation in this particular video. I feel like fingers are a really great tool for foundation. I think there are other makeup applications that require brushes more than foundation. Now, an important thing to consider is how you do your makeup. If you're someone who doesn't really use eyeshadow, then maybe you can skip the eyeshadow brush recommendations. And I'll try to be cognizant of that throughout the video. So, keep that in mind. I am offering this from my perspective and how I do my makeup, so hopefully at least some of this will be interesting and maybe informative for you. So the first brush I want to talk about is one of my favorites. It is the e.l.f. Complexion Brush. This is a $3 brush. It's super soft. All of these, of course, are cruelty-free. They're all synthetic. And this is a great all-purpose brush. I use it mostly for powdering my foundation, setting my face. You could use it for bronzer. It's nice and fluffy, so you would get a really diffused, even application of bronzer. You could use it for blush if you wanted that more kind of blown out look of your blush. But I just think it's a really great brush if you use foundation, if you use powder in your routine, and it's super, super affordable. The next kind of face brushes I want to talk about, I actually have 2, depending on what you tend to use. Now, all of these synthetic brushes can be used with liquids, powders, and creams. That's part of the benefit of using synthetic brushes outside of, the cruelty-free aspect of it. But if you tend to use more sort of powder, blushes, highlighters, bronzers, that sort of thing, I would recommend something like this. This is the e.l.f. Small Tapered Brush, so you can see it's quite a bit smaller, more precise than the Complexion Brush. This is another great all-around brush. You could absolutely use it for powder if maybe you only use concealer under your eyes. That's the only place you really want to powder your face. This fits in really nicely. If you only want to powder certain spots, you don't need a giant brush to go over your whole face. You can use this for bronzer. It is going to be a little bit more work because it's a smaller brush, but it's great for blush. It's great for highlighter. I've even used it to kind of blow out an eye look with eyeshadow. So it's another great multitasking brush, and something along this line, this shape. Again, it's super soft and $3. If you tend to use more cream products, while this can technically be used with them, I find a better alternative is another e.l.f. brush. This is the e.l.f. Smallstipple Brush. I find this to be really helpful for cream products. So if you tend to use cream bronzers, cream blushes, cream highlighters, outside of using your fingers, which is a great application method, something like this is going to really help to spread that product out. Because it is a flat shape, it will take less time than trying to use something like this, and this is much more dense. So when you're using a cream product, that is probably a little more dense than a powder product, so it's just a really good alternative for all of those same application uses as the Small Tapered, but just with a cream product focus. The next brushes I want to talk about are all eye brushes. So this is the area where I tend to gather lots of different brushes for different ways of applying eyeshadow and all this sort of thing, because I like that. But I wanted to really pare this down to 1, possibly 2 brushes, although I do have 3 to talk about. The first one, and this could really be your go-to, is one of my favorite brushes of all time, and is the base shadow brush from Real Techniques. What I love so much about this brush is it is an amazing multitasker. Just for eyeshadow, because it has this kind of tapered end, it can be pretty precise. You can use it under your lash line. It fits perfectly into the socket of the eye if you want to put something through your crease. It's dense enough and has this kind of flat edge, so it can be really great for applying eyeshadow to your eye, and the taper actually helps it to fit in really well, either on the outside or inside corner. And it's soft enough that you could use it to blend. And again, because it fits into the crease so well, you can really just go back and forth and the brush can do the work for you. It's perfect. It's a perfect all-in-one eyeshadow brush. And actually, just occurred to me that that might be a fun get ready with me, just using this brush for eyeshadow. So that would be, if you are only going to get one eyeshadow brush, that would be my recommendation. Or look for something with a similar shape. This is the only brush I know of that is shaped like this, but I'm sure at this point, this brush has been out for years now, I'm sure at this point somebody else has taken inspiration from it. Another eye brush that I think is really fantastic, although this is less of a multitasker, is the e.l.f. Crease Brush, or any fluffy brush. This is going to be your friend when it comes to blending shadows out. And I know for me, that was one of the main things that really helped to step up my eyeshadow game. Not saying that I'm even good at makeup, but once I learned about blending and how to blend eyeshadow out, I think my general makeup looks improved immensely. Any kind of brush like this is just a really affordable option. It's super soft. It works really well. I mean, Real Techniques has a bunch of brushes like this. Just anything that is fluffy, soft. I prefer this kind of domed end, and that's just going to help to blend your eyeshadow. I suppose you could use it to place powder in very precise areas if you wanted to as well, but this is a brush that I exclusively use for eyeshadow. The last brush I want to mention is something I would recommend if you like to do sort of eye looks like this, where you want to work on the lower lash line, or if you like to use powder products or cream products in your brows, something in a pot. And that is a small angled brush. Now this one in particular is from Real Techniques. It was part of a holiday set a few years ago, so they don't have this brush, although they have a brush that is very similar to this. This is also a really awesome brush for doing cream or gel eyeliner. It's great for doing a wing. You can just kind of stamp it on. It's fabulous for going through your brows because of the angled shape, and because it's small, you can do that kind of precise work of eyeliner or bringing eyeshadow along the lower lash line. However, if you don't use cream eyeliner and don't use creams in your brows, if this particular angled shape doesn't really appeal to you, just something like this. This is the Real Techniques small accent brush. Can be really great for doing, again, that precise work through the eyes. This can be nice for dotting concealer over blemishes and blending that in. Something small and precise, whether you prefer the more kind of square end or the tapered end, I think can be really, really helpful, whether you do very simple makeup or whether you do really intricate makeup. So I suppose that was another top 5-ish video, but hopefully you found it interesting, helpful. If you have any other video requests or top 5 video requests, please let me know. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it interesting, hopefully helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.